Good morning, Rabbi. How you doing today?
I'm good, Joe. How's everything in the studio?
Well, my studio doesn't compare to yours, but it does get me to thinking about art. One of my earliest possessions that inspired me to be an artist was a hand-carved statue of the Virgin Mary.
But Joe, I think
And
you clarify as we begin for our listener that virgin birth applies to who is it talking about?
Mary,
Mary.
mother of Jesus.
Correct. Many people think that that it refers to Jesus and not Mary having been born without original sin so that she could give birth to the Son of God. That's the process. But when you talk to a lot of Catholics, they don't understand that.
Well, that's the crux of the hub, as it were, because you have some observations on this as well.
Yeah, what's really curious now that you brought up the Blessed Virgin Mary is if you look at Greek scripture, there's only a handful of passages where she is mentioned. We know nothing about where she lived after the crucifixion, where she went. There's almost nothing. Yet if you ask people, they'll tell you all the great detail that evolved, all the great stories, all the great places, everything that happened to her. And it's entirely fictional. It's not scripturally based. Now, this would not be a problem if it didn't become a problem. And even Rome has on occasion, and this seems to come and go with what's going on within the church itself, of Mariology and trying to address these inconsistencies, this fiction, and leave it as fiction and not as fact. And that brings up a really good question. There's nothing wrong with filling in the blanks. There's nothing wrong with painting the whole picture when all we might have is a little tiny piece of it, as long as we recognize it's fiction. The danger becomes when we think it's real and we're willing to kill other people or let someone else die because of our political beliefs or subject other people to our whims when we believe that it's a kernel, that it was ordained by God, God revealed, when it's purely fictional. That, Joe, is the danger. And, you look at my art behind me. That's also true in the world of art. It's also true in the world of TikTok. Another young girl died with the choking herself, which is all the rage on TikTok, because you see it, you do it, you think you're going to be accepted, you're going to get more likes, et cetera, et cetera. So there's always a danger and a line. And we as human beings have to learn some self-control, some restraint, and also to listen to other people.
Well, one thing that I always find entertaining is your observations, Rabbi. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Joe. And you can always count on me to point out the kernel from the husk.